This is the Nancy Stevens Lifestyle Show here on the New Horizon Radio. In association with Haversley, experts in the sale of lettings, estate agency and block management businesses. If you're thinking of selling now or in the next 5 years, get in touch. They're a friendly bunch at haversleygroup.com.
Welcome to the Nancy Stevens Lifestyle Show here on the New Horizon. A little bit about me, an absolute lover of Milton Keynes, favourite cities in the world, Hamburg, and controversially, Jerusalem. I absolutely love bread and cake, and I'm absolutely thrilled to announce that I have a sponsor for my show, the Haversley Group. I absolutely manifested this. It was on my vision board at the beginning of the year, and I'm absolutely thrilled that they are sponsoring my show. So thank you, Tracy Bradley at the Haversley Group. On today's show, I'm working with Waterstones, talking Bella Mackey's novel, What a Way to Go, an inspector calls at Milton Keynes Theatre, Budget versus Bougie, that's Scrubs, and the Netflix #1 series, which is called 4 Seasons. And this week's guest is Nicola West, who is a wedding celebrant and working with Waterstones. And I'm talking about Bella Mackey's book, What a Way to Go. I didn't actually know much about Bella Mackey, except that she's married to Greg James. But this is a cracking little novel, actually. Meet the Westones, rich, powerful, morally bankrupt. Anthony is dead. His wife and 4 children each have a motive, and there's a true crime-obsessed outsider ready to expose the killer. With a family like this, who needs enemies? Honestly, this was such a thoroughly enjoyable book. It's kind of like Succession, but rewritten by Agatha Christie. It was an unputtable down book. So yes, I'm definitely going to read more of Bella Mackey's book. So this is available at Waterstones, Milton Keynes. What a way to go. And last night at Milton Keynes Theatre, an inspector came to call. This is a classic. This is J.B. Priestley's kind of GCSE classic. The theatre was full of school children. More of that later. But directed by Stephen Daldry. And to be honest with you, I'd seen the show before, but thankfully I have a memory of a goldfish, so I don't actually remember much. So it's great because I can just see things over and over again and it feels like something fresh. But the set is phenomenal, and I'd forgotten just how atmospheric it is. And I say the set design is it's just incredible. And it's raining and it's foggy and it's just incredibly atmospheric. So you're straight away, you're sort of invested and you're in the moment. Thoroughly unlikable family, and it's basically a modern morality tale set in 1910. And and we've got the mysterious Inspector Gould, who turns up and basically pits the family, this odious family, against each other. And at first I thought, this acting is a little bit hammy, but it kind of that's how it's meant to be, actually. And I did really enjoy it. However, it was marred by the behaviour of some of the school children that were there. They were coached loads of kids there because they're doing it for their GCSEs, and clapping at inappropriate moments. But apparently, there's a TikTok trend going around that when Lord Burling says something about playing golf, they clap. And I was like, what's going on? I didn't realise this was a trend. So we all looked around and go, what the hell is going on? Have we missed something? But yes, this is something that they do. And everybody's jumped on the bandwagon. So there's some moments where there's some clapping and laughing that were wholly inappropriate, and I did think that spoilt it a bit. But I'm hoping that the majority of people there did get what they needed to get from it, because, as I say, it is a really interesting tale of morals about how we treat those less fortunate than ourselves, and even going back to sort of Edwardian Victorian times. And now, not much has changed, but I did really enjoy it. And as I say, it is a classic. Stephen Daldry of Billy Elliot fame has done a cracking job, and Inspector Calls is touring the country. And this week, following on last week's popular beauty hack, I'm doing Budget versus Bougie. The only reason I'm saying bougie, it's not that bougie actually, just because it rhymes. But anyway, I'm going to be talking about Scrubs again, because my dry brushing section it was really, really well received. So a couple of months ago, I was a bit skinned, Kel Surprise, and I couldn't afford my usual scrub. So I went to Poundland and I got this. And obviously it was £1 or £2. And it's just a body scrub. And it's not bad for a few quid, but you do get what you pay for. It is cheap and cheerful. It's okay. It smells quite nice. Yeah, it doesn't smell bad, actually. I say not bad for a few quid. But the bougie one, oh my God, I love this. This is Sanctuary. and I have been using Sanctuary for years, but it's not the cheapest, but it is amazing. This is a hot sugar scrub, actually, and my favorite one is the salt and oil one, but I'm going to talk about this today because it's a little bit different. It really exfoliates the skin. It's got jasmine, grapefruit, and vanilla scent. It's formulated with zeolite, and the kaolin clay actually draws out impurities and detoxifies the skin. You can actually feel it doing good. I don't know what it's doing, and I'm not a science, but the sciencey bit really sort of blew my mind. But it is such a great exfoliant, actually. It's best used with gloves, the gloves that I talked about last week. So just a little bit of water on your gloves, so slightly wet, slightly damp, and then I say you just pop this on, and it obviously warms. It warms up as you put it on, and then you just wash it off, and then you get out the shower, and then obviously moisturize as per normal. So it is fantastic. So yeah, bougie versus budget, which wins? Bougie, of course. And the number one Netflix series at the moment is called Four Seasons, and I just kind of stumbled across it. It's not had a load of PR, but then all of a sudden it's one of those things when you watch it, it's kind of everywhere. Three suburban couples holiday together each season, but tensions arise when one couple splits up, and basically the husband has a midlife crisis and brings a younger woman into the mix, and the dynamics of these long-standing friendships completely change. It is quite interesting to see, and it's kind of as you expect. Say a middle-aged man having a midlife crisis brings this younger woman into the friendship circle that he's had for 25, 30 years. So everyone's of a certain age, and then he brings a 30-something girl in, and it just say her friends just don't gel with his, and it's very interesting. And then how sort of the scorned wife, the wrong wife copes as well. It's quite painful, but it's also very, very funny. It's written by Tina Fey, so there's definitely comedic moments. What I loved about it, actually, as I say, because it's called Four Seasons, it's set in the different seasons in America, and I love the one that's in the fall. I would love to go to America in the fall with the leaves. It just looks absolutely beautiful. But it is a snapshot of marriage, both gay and straight, friendship, and as I say, a male midlife crisis. I think I'm having a midlife crisis sometimes, to be honest with you. It's witty, beautifully filmed, and as I say, some of the locations are absolutely to die for. What I loved as well, it's only half an hour per episode, so it's you're not sitting up thinking, oh my god, I've got to just watch another episode, or I'm going to go to bed, it's like 3 a.m. So 8 episodes, half an hour each, witty, pithy, poignant, sad, but say beautifully written. And it's based on the 1981 film by the same name, starring Alan Alda. And actually, he makes a cameo appearance, which I thought was a really lovely touch, actually. So it stars Tina Fey and Steve Carell, of whom I'm not normally a fan of, but let's just say he fulfills the brief. But I say it's the number one show on Netflix, definitely worth a watch, and fans are crying out for season 2. Nicola West is my guest today. Nicola is a multi-award-winning celebrant renowned for crafting beautiful, bespoke weddings and funerals. Whether she's celebrating a couple's unique love story or honouring a life of a loved one, Nicola brings warmth, compassion and authenticity to every ceremony. And I'm very thrilled that you're here, and I've only known you couple of months, and my god, we have just hit it off, haven't we?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Oh, so excited. So I don't really know where to start because we've got so much to talk about today, but I think let's talk about the most important reason why you're here is the fact that you're a celebrant.
Absolutely.
And it's a wonderful thing that you do. You bring so much joy and calm to people's lives for different reasons. Tell me why you decided to become a celebrant.
So many years ago, I was a wedding planner, and I used to love watching the ceremonies take place, but always knew that they could be done so much better. And also the other side, when I'd attended family services for people that had passed, I just thought, there's something missing, and I knew that it was, I don't know, just deep down it was something I always wanted to do. So after a while, the paths led me, sort of brought me to this point, and yeah, it's been the best thing I've ever done.
I mean, again, having not known you for very long, I can't imagine you doing anything else. But let's talk about how we met, because it is such an amazing story, actually, that the way the universe has aligned, for our paths to finally meet after 25 years. Yeah. So the story goes, many years ago, when our children were very little, Nicola and I worked at the same wedding dress shop in Woburn Sands on alternate Saturdays. Can you believe it? So we never met. So Nicola would do one Saturday and I would do the other, and we never met. I always knew of the girl who worked on the other. I knew her name, but I never knew who she was, and we never needed to meet. So as I say, we did alternate Saturdays. So there was that, which was an amazing coincidence. Our kids went to Arts 1 together, same age, both performers, and there's just been so many parallels, haven't there?
Absolutely, it's amazing when we started talking. Just the way that we sort of those sliding door moments. I knew of you because of living in Woburn Sands, obviously, sort of similar social groups, etc. But we never actually met or spent any time together. And it's just when we actually started talking recently, how we unpacked so much history that ran alongside one another. It was amazing.
It's actually blown my tiny little mind because, it's also the theatre as well.
Absolutely.
We're obsessed with musical theatre. So we have so much in common. We have a love of musical theatre, and I just feel like we were meant to meet now.
Absolutely, because I also worked for Milton Keynes and Aylesbury Theatre in the past within sort of the events and marketing, and knew of you again in that point. So yes, I mean, and my love of musical theatre and both of our children being performers as well. It just, we definitely came to a point in our lives when we're supposed to have been together here.
Absolutely, and we're not together as in a romantic.
No, sorry, as in friendship.
but to become friends.
Yeah.
And so much so we're wearing the same outfit today.
We are indeed.
As if by magic, actually. No, to be fair, Nicola had a wardrobe weed with me, and then I took Nicola shopping and introduced her to the joys of dopamine dressing, and you rather enjoyed that, although I was pretty brutal, wasn't I?
That's an understatement. But yes, I use the word transformational because I loved every moment of it. It was a birthday present from my family to get a styling appointment, and then I booked you and booked the wardrobe weed, and you came along, and with just one word I'm looking at an item of clothing, i.e. no, yes,
what?
Why?
What is this?
Basically, lots of that. I was left with not a lot in my wardrobe, but what I would wear, and more importantly, what I felt great in. Then the next day came to you and had this incredible styling appointment, and I just felt with this and everything that I've had since, just feel great.
And you look fabulous, and the fact if you've had such a very such a public journey, weight loss, and it's been
Absolutely.
difficult. And as women, the way we look, it very much makes us feel good or bad. It's like having a good or a bad hair day. But if you're wearing the right clothes for your body shape, it is, as you say, transformative.
Absolutely. And being in front of people talking all the time and doing what I do, I want to feel, not that people were looking at my size, but I wanted to feel comfortable in my body, and actually losing the weight has helped amazingly. And actually now with the styling, even better.
You look insane, if I say so myself. And you are winning a ridiculous amount of awards. It's insane, actually. And I'm guessing you're going to start being like an Oscar winner and having to put them all in your loo. I think it was 16 at the last count.
It was indeed, yes.
So not bad for someone who's been at this gig for 5 years?
8 years.
8 years.
5 years working full time, but there was a few years before that where I was doing it part time around my other role. But yes, 5 years in it with 100% full time. So yes, it's
my maths is not brilliant, but that's averaging about 2 or 3 a year. Yeah. That's not too shabby, actually.
No, it's not. I'm very proud of them because a lot of them come from the reviews that my couples give me. Some are from votes, some are from panels. So yes, it's and even just to become a finalist in a number of the awards that I've entered, including the Wedding and Honeymoon Magazine Awards, which was held at the Dorchester this year, and Kew Gardens last year. To be one of the finalists in the country for that was something extra special. So yeah,
pinch me moment.
Very much pinch me moment. I literally stood there and was like, OMG, yeah.
How has this happened to you? And the thing is that this is, I guess you think this is what you were always meant to do.
Absolutely.
And this is the rightful accolades that you're getting. You work. I only having known you a few months, I know how very hard you work, how much effort you put in for each couple, and you've had you work with such a mix of couples. I mean, recently you've had a Jewish and is it Iranian?
Yes, I've been working. I mean, just going back to the awards, then the most important thing to me are my couples and how happy they are, and the reviews I get. The awards are for me, but how my couples and writing the ceremonies, working on the different ceremonies, including, like you just said, the Jewish and Iranian one. I had to do so much homework. I've had to find out about the different ceremonies that take place within each of these cultures, within a wedding ceremony, and to sit and write that ceremony. I was actually, I'll be honest, at the beginning it was sort of a bit, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to bring this to life? but spending time writing it and then sending it off for my couple to read, it's that sort of like hold your breath moment. And then yesterday I received an email from them with literally the line, "We love it!" exclamation mark. And that was it. I was over the moon. So yeah.
The thing is, I guess it's the equivalent of being an actor and not being given any notes.
Absolutely, it is. And I never went to university, but I always equate it to if you were to send in your essays or your dissertation and you're waiting for that sort of feedback. So yeah, I always, when I send the first draft of a ceremony, there is that sort of refresh on my email quite a lot to see if they've come back to say anything.
It must be so interesting though, because as I say, you've really got to sort of delve deeply into the history of the cultures. And I mean, this is not the first cross-cultural wedding you've done. You've done loads, but obviously you do, LGBTQ weddings. Absolutely. And I guess the best bit of your job is just meeting a phenomenal array of different people.
Every one of my couples are so different. Every love story is so different. And what I like to do is I love to find out about them. Separate from writing something that's, if it's a cultural, but it's actually the heart of a wedding ceremony is the couple and their love story and what has brought them to that exact moment they're going to be standing together in front of their friends and family. And I love finding out about that. And I send them homework to do. And it helps them just to sit and sort of think about their relationship in the past. And so many have come back and said just doing that one sort of little task as a date night has brought so much joy to their sort of journey through sort of coming with the wedding planning, because it can be really stressful.
So no one's come back and thought, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? You've asked a question that I didn't, I can't possibly answer that.
No, but I always do say, if there's something you're not comfortable with, please don't feel free not to answer. But I've never had that. Normally I get a mixture of a couple of lines to a sort of an essay per question, depending on the couple, and from there I create their ceremonies. And I love it. With meetings and everything, it all comes together beautifully.
And you get to go to some amazing venues, don't you? I mean, every weekend I'm seeing you popping up at very, very swish places.
I'm so lucky. I work everywhere from somebody's back garden, which is the wonderful thing about being a celebrant. I've been in gardens, the living room, up to stately homes, Kew Gardens, you name it. I go to some of the best places and also some of the most personal places. And one of them was a woodland in a farmland, in the farm of the bride. And she used to play under a coppice of trees as a child and always wanted to get married there. And she had 140 guests under this coppice of trees. We sang hymns because they wanted a religious sort of elements, which I sang Jerusalem. And we had this beautiful wedding, and it was something magical. It literally felt, I felt like I was in a fairy tale. And yeah, there's many pinch me moments in the ceremonies I do, but equally so, it's when I'm standing. One of them I did was at a party. People thought they were just at an anniversary party, and I was a guest, and people were asking me who I was. And then about 8:30 that night, I got everyone together. I sort of made it look like I was making a speech, but actually got everyone together to say that they were renewing their vows. And it was a vow renewal for their 25th wedding anniversary, and it was really special.
Well, that's so romantic. And also I guess that takes the pressure off having a proper event. Everyone's coming for a wedding renewal, a sort of vow renewal, which again, that's a lot of pressure. But the fact that it felt like it wasn't spontaneous, but it felt spontaneous.
Absolutely.
Must have been really special. And there must have been a lot of surprise faces there.
Yes, I mean, my nerves on that situation, that can actually create more nerves for me instead of when they're just already sitting down. But it was fabulous because there was this amazing sort of atmosphere. It changed. It was already celebratory, but it changed into something else. And by the end of it, there were tears, there was there was cheers, everything. It was just perfect.
Based on that, you need to watch the first episode of 4 seasons on Netflix.
I have. Yeah. I have indeed. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yes. That's definitely worth a watch, and hopefully that's never happened. But
no.
Yeah. And we're talking, I guess you get 4 weddings and a funeral?
Very much so. It's, I think in my role, because I do both weddings and funerals, I get that joke a lot. But it's truly an honour to work with families across Milton Keynes, Bedford, sort of Northamptonshire and the surrounding areas. because I help them say goodbye to their family member or their loved one in a way that is respectful for them, whether it be traditional ensemble or whether it be colourful, joyful and bright. I'm there to lead them through that moment, working alongside some incredible funeral directors in the area. I have had a bit of a 4 weddings and a funeral moment, though. A couple of years ago, I worked on a funeral for a lady in her 50s, and she's got 3 beautiful daughters, 2 of which were planning a wedding at the time that Mum passed. After the service, the service was beautiful. After the service, I walked outside and I'm standing waiting for the mourners to leave, as I always do. And all 3 of them came up and literally surrounded me with hugs to thank me. And 2 of them said, "We'd like you to do our weddings, please. We know Mum would love you and we'd like you to do our weddings."
Oh gosh.
It's a real moment, especially as a woman in her 50s with children of a similar age. It really sort of, resonated. So I worked with 2 of them on their ceremony, and it was incredible because we brought Mum into the ceremony. And then in March, I worked with the lovely lady's nephew on his wedding, and hopefully there might be another one, so it'll definitely be 4 weddings and a funeral out of that family. But more importantly, it's about the trust that they put in me and the connection that we've built.
It really is a family affair, though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously the toughest side of funerals, I mean, how do you deal with, because they're obviously all death is sad, but children, suicides, young people, how do you cope? I mean, how are you, your resilience, does it get stronger, or do you just take to your bed for a few hours afterwards and then just, refresh the next day?
And I don't think you actually refresh. I think what you do is, sometimes I come home from a meeting or a service and I literally get into bed and just have to sort of shake it out that way. I've learned that it's not my grief. I empathise and I sympathise with them and I'm there for them. And yes, I can feel it, and especially with children and sort of the suicides. You're working with a family at something they can't even imagine, a time they would never even think they were going to be coming to. And I'm there as somebody to help support them through that moment. And I just make sure I do my best for them. And that helps me to sort of release in a way, because I know I've done my best for the family. But there are times, and there's some of the services I've done, they stay with me. There's lots of them that I never forget, and stories, and I'll go past somewhere that I know somewhere somebody's been or something, and I think of them always. So yeah, they don't leave me. I hold on to them, but not in a way that it sort of it crushes me inside. I hope that I've done my best for the family and helped them get through that time. And like I say, sometimes it's just about taking an ice cream and laying in bed with my ice cream, which I know sounds daft, but I just have to, bit of sugar, lay down, sleep for a while and just let it out.
But you're such an empath. I mean, we're very similar like that. I mean, there must be points during that service where you think, I'm going to lose, I'm going to cry. How do you, because once I start crying, I can swallow and, I can have a sip of water, whatever. You can't do that. Yeah. You've got to remain composed throughout. And as you say, it's not your grief. How do you hold it together when, with something, because obviously there will be situations that are more difficult than others, when you can feel the tears coming and the overwhelm?
I'm human. At the end of the day, this isn't, I don't put up a glass wall. I am human and I will feel it. I did a service recently for a very large service. There were over 500 people there. It was being filmed. It was a young lady. And I had to stand up after a video of herself. She'd recorded a video that was surprised everyone in the chapel. And I had to stand up and speak after that. And literally, I just held onto the side of the lectern and took a breath, and I just said, I think we all need a moment. And it literally helped me pull myself together. Other times I've sat there and when in a moment of reflection, and yes, I've turned my head and a tear's fallen, I've pulled it together, because for me, I want to make sure my families and the people that I'm helping, I get across what they want, and then I will cry all the way home. And that's how I do it. I think it's when I leave and I literal sob.
Gosh, it's making me quite emotional, actually. But it's such a privileged position to be in, you know, and I think obviously both situations, weddings and funerals, but I think, you know, that you are the last contact for their family. You know, they might not get together for a while after that, you know, because unfortunately sometimes busy lives, people just only come together for weddings and funerals. And I guess you're the sort of common denominator, that you're bringing people together for the joy, but also the celebration of their lives as well.
Absolutely. And some of them are celebrations, like I said earlier about the colour and things, but also you're right, it is people are coming together in a moment of uncertainty as well, especially if they've not been together for a while or families are fractured. But one of the things that I find the most humbling and is an honour is when I am asked to do a service again for a family, when they come back and ask me to help with another family member or a friend, because for me that means I've done what I've done it right for them, and they remember that. Or I get messages from people that have actually been at the services. They find me on the internet, or they find, you know, they've asked the families for my details and sent me messages to thank me for helping in that moment. And I've not worked with them directly, but I've affected that moment for them. And it is about bringing that to life. And I work with an incredible group of funeral directors. You know, it's not just myself. There's a whole team of people that the families go to in that time, and each funeral director, they're so amazing. And as an independent celebrant, you know, they choose me to work with the family at the time, and I just try and do my best. My main thing, whether it be wedding, funeral, vow renewal, whatever it is, I always want things to be done properly, because I'm very much about making sure that moment counts, and I'm very much about making sure that everyone remembers as they walk away, whether it be a funeral service or a wedding, they walk away and go, that was incredible, that was great, or I did the right thing for the family, or, you know, I never realised about the couple, their cry, their laugh. I want those moments, I want that, and that's the joy that I get from it.
It's such a privilege, isn't it?
Oh, it's the ultimate privilege. It's something that I pinch myself a lot, separate from everything I've achieved within my role. I mean, I'm so lucky. I am recommended to some of the best wedding venues around the country and lots of the local Northamptonshire venues, Milton Keynes venues. To build that reputation, I've worked hard at. But what I do, separate from all of the things that I've built within that, the actual day-to-day connection I build up with the people that I meet, the families, the couples, and the relationships there, that means more than anything, and it's a privilege to do so, and I am so lucky. I honestly would never do anything else.
Tell us, Nikki, what's the difference between a celebrant and a registrar? Why should we choose a celebrant over a registrar?
Okay, so a registrar officiates the statutory marriage ceremony, so the legal part, and they don't allow you to deviate very far from the sort of the legal standards that are set from a wedding law that is over 200 years old, from the 1800s sort of time, whenever it was. But it doesn't allow you to deviate much from that. You're not allowed to have any spiritual, anything that you want in there. A celebrant allows you to have a ceremony exactly how you want it to be, whether it be in your garden, whether it be in a beautiful wedding venue. The content is for you. It's every moment of it. You can have the readings you want, you can have the words you want, you can have songs, anything different. You can have hand tyings and different ceremonies, but it allows you the freedom to have a ceremony that is the way you want it to be without restriction. Registrars turn up about 20 minutes before, they will interview you, they will do their ceremony, and then they will leave and go on to a next one. If you are running late for any reason, they will not stay much past a certain point, and they will leave. Now, I did a wedding at the weekend, due to no fault of their own. The ceremony ran 45 minutes over.
Oh my God.
In fact, it was a bit longer than that by the time we got them in. The ceremony still happened. And I've had an hour and a half, I've had nearly 2 hours delayed due to traffic, due to family members not being able to get there. Registrars won't stay, they go. It gives you freedom to relax and to know that your ceremony will take place no matter what. I only book one ceremony a day. I make sure that my couples are comfortable. Registrars are sort of saying now that they personalise ceremonies for you, and we do like a celebrant thing. They don't. It is very much about the rules for them. And also, when couples say to me, well, it's not really my wedding day, and I always use the same sort of little thing. when you have a child, you never celebrate the day that you went and got their birth certificate, which is their legal paperwork. You celebrate the day they were born. So go and do the legal paperwork and celebrate your love story with the family and friends, how you want it to be.
That's a great analogy, actually. And I didn't realise that. But again, I mean, with a registrar, I mean, that's pressure. But it does feel, as I say, it's sort of not very personalised, and it's sort of in art, and you're just a number, aren't you, really?
Absolutely, yeah. And you don't know who you're going to get. More importantly, you have no idea who you're going to get on the day. And, you know, registrars come in, like celebrants, we come in all different shapes, sizes and wonders. But you have no idea who that person's going to be.
You've never met them before.
You've never met them before. Where with me, I work with my couples anything from 2 years to 6 months. In fact, one of them was 3 days before their wedding because it was literally last minute. But they know who they're going to be seeing at the end of the hour. They feel comfortable with me. We've built a relationship and there's a friendship there. And that makes so much difference, especially for my neurodivergent couples that are very nervous, for my couples that want to different things. They just want that personalised, and well, not even personalised, they just want to feel comfortable, but it takes away the stress, and that's what it's about. And it's about creating a ceremony that brings joy on the day, not fills you with dread that you're going to be running late, they're going to snap at you because they've got to get to another wedding ceremony, or they're rushing you, or they get, you know, things wrong, which happens quite a lot in registrars. But at the end of the day, we both have roles we both have the right role in our sort of in the industry, but the celebrant gives you something, it brings something extra special to a wedding ceremony. While we can't marry you legally, so my couples do have to go and do the legal statutory part, we bring joy, we bring personalisation, and we bring memories and ceremonies that, well, I always think I just want ceremonies that you will remember.
And that's why you're called Ceremonies by Nicola.
I am, Ceremonies by Nicola West, and yes, I'm very proud of that.
And we will get to how people can contact you after this, but one quick amusing anecdote with celebs.
Yes.
You've had to sign a lot of NDAs in your time, but this particular story you're allowed to talk about.
I am. So many years ago when I was a wedding planner, I got asked to meet a couple called Anthony and Lisa. So I went to a pub in Taplow down near sort of Beaconsfield way.
Yeah, very posh.
And I walked in and Ant and Dec were at the bar. They literally turned around and I'm sort of, what the hell's going on? And was sort of, you know, can imagine thinking, am I being set up? And Anthony said, are you Nicola? And I went, yes. He said, oh, you're the wedding planner. We've been waiting for you. It turned out I'd been asked to help on the wedding of Anthony and Lisa, Ant and Dec. So I worked on all of their church side of things, and it was the most incredible experience. And I have to say they were a joy. Well, Anthony was a joy and Lisa were a joy to work with. Dec was obviously always there and he was funny. But yeah, I have to say when I walked into that pub, I genuinely thought I'd been set up. But the day of the wedding came and I was outside the church and all the rest of it working along things. And I met Robbie Williams. And to me, was still my beating heart. Everything I've done in my life, Robbie Williams came up to me, went, are you the wedding planner? And I said, yes. He said, oh, you're like J-Lo. I'll keep an eye out for you. And that was it. I was happy.
That is such a great story. And you dine out on that for years, which
Absolutely.
I'm sure you have done.
Yep.
No, honestly, you do bring so much joy, and I'm privileged to have met you. And I guess, you know, if people are getting married or say you're sort of doing their funerals, to have someone like you there would just make, I say, such a, you know, so special and so deeply personal. So how can people get hold of you on social media?
So I'm on Instagram and it's Ceremonies by Nicola. I'm also on Facebook under the same handle, and I've got my website, which is www.ceremoniesbynicola.co.uk. You can also, if you're looking at wedding shows, I'm at a lot of the local wedding shows in the area. Come and speak to me personally, but let's book a call, let's have a chat. If it's for funerals, I work through different funeral directors, and you can ask for me directly, and I'll come and work with you to help with that. And say, with the wedding ceremonies, let me help and bring something beautiful, personal, bespoke, and just how you want it to be.
Oh my God, you're amazing. So, no, thank you for being such a great guest. And
thank you.
No, it's a joy. I mean, we could probably talk for another hour. So yes, if you'd like to be a guest on my show, please message me _NancyMK_ on Instagram. And say you've got an interesting story. I'd love to hear merit. I have a waiting list now, which is a lovely position to be in. Again, I'm delighted I have sponsorship for my show, so huge thanks to the Haversley Group. So it's been an amazing week. Next week, I'm just so happy. I say the week after, actually got bank holiday. I'm going to be talking to local lass, best-selling Sunday Times and New York Times author Sarah Pinborough. I'm very excited about that. Have a great day.